Hello, beloveds. This is Yauri Olá. I'm the curator of Earth School of Healing Arts, and I'm coming here today to share with you a little bit more about ayahuasca plant medicine and give a little bit of the context in which we are studying with this plant teacher in the study of the school itself. So the School of Earth is really a feminine ground. We have art in capital letters because we're really attuning ourselves to the creative dimension of this planet. The creative dimension of this planet is this electromagnetic, energetic experience that we have once we allow our minds to drop into our bodies and our bodies to relate to nature. So we recognize that we are made of the same elemental substance of the whole universe. And this naturally restores a balance within ourselves, because when we are only in our minds, disconnected from the source that lies within ourselves, our minds are always in lack mentality, always looking for something out there, to a perfectionist's goal, to a future, to what happened in the past that was wrong. It is never really present. So the experience of embodiment, which I speak of, it's really a tuning back, like turning the mind, the power of our attention within, to be able to perceive the reality of the present moment and all the sensual information that we receive when we open to interact with life with all of our energetic system, right? And what I want to share about today, I have some notes here that I did while I was watching a documentary about ayahuasca that is in the internet. It's very beautiful, but it's like 1 hour long, and I want to make like a little resume of the key points of this documentary. It's called The Nature of Ayahuasca. It's on YouTube, so if you feel called, you can go and check it out. There are beautiful imagery about this healing space in Peru, if I'm not mistaken. But there are some important conversations there that talk about different aspects of ayahuasca. So ayahuasca is both a healer and a medicine. This is something that it's a bit weird for us as humans to understand. How can a plant be a healer? But when we tune into this aspect of nature, we realize that everything has a consciousness, and some consciousness of nature really developed in a different paradigm than our human development, and they really have superpowers, and they are here as guardians, stewards of life, and they really have a lot to teach us. And this is their function inside of the indigenous cultures, is really to initiate human consciousness into the spiritual dimensions of our soul evolution, to really integrate us into the process of going beyond the life, the material realm where we experience here. And to be able to tap into her teachings, what we really need is to develop sensitivity. And this is the basic study of the school. Whenever we have our retreats, our gatherings, or individual initiations happening here, our main focus is to get the mind back into the body so that we can actually genuinely experience life force and heal our soul injuries. Whenever we are present with a powerful electromagnetic force like ayahuasca, or like the kundalini of the planet, or our own kundalini, or the kundalini that we experience in a sexual encounter, for example, this electromagnetic charge has the same intensity of our original traumas that create all of our conflicts, because traumas are actually places in our psyche where the creative energy has been blocked from its true flow. Like love wants to flow, wants to be expressed, wants to be experienced in exchange. Né? And because we have been through 3,000 years at least of a very war like culture, love has not been met properly in this plane. And this is why coming back to indigenous culture is so rich, because they have remained close to earth and close to a dimension where love is actually something tangible, substantial, experiential, and not only ideal. No. So um, so the power of ayahuasca is really that she is like materialized life force. And she acts in our system like this defibrillator of anything that is stuck in all of our bodies, mental, emotional, physical bodies. And when we open ourselves willingly to be defibrillated, we come back, we restore the vibration, the harmonics of our bodies functioning in harmony, and we create new narrow pathways to reconnect our minds to our emotions, to our physical bodies, to each other. This is why it's really a healer of intimacy, because we open ourselves to see within ourselves and to see, therefore, the same love that is within everything else. And this changes our perspective so radically. When we have this experience, we are able, sometimes after many, many years, to finally relax again in deep soul recognition. We find this common sense, common ground of humanity, this connection, this connectiveness. And this reduces all the ego mechanisms that are so harmful for our soul and that many times get manifested through our bodies like disease, which is to reduce the judgmental mind, the excessive demands that we have on ourselves, on each other, the competitiveness, the judgment, and it increases a sense of collaboration, of cooperation, because this is the realm where nature actually operates from. No? So, yeah, within this field, within the field of the School of Earth and within the field of ayahuasca, we really see that we're all apprentices and we're all maestros, we're all teachers and students of Earth's unconditional love. This is really where it all boils down to. And the reason why I want to speak about it is because we are living this psychedelic renaissance, and like everything now it's in fashion, and many people feel the calling to experience ayahuasca, because now it's like for you to be spiritual equals for you to be a good person. You have to experience this. And if we go with this mindset, we already lost the whole trip, because nothing that you do can really make you a good person. The experience of ayahuasca, it's an experience of getting to know your whole self, and that means integrating the light and the shadow, integrating the positive and the negative aspects. And this is really lifelong journey. It's not only about one time taking ayahuasca or like 60 times counting it on your finger, counting peak experiences, and then feeling like, okay, I'm doing the right thing. We have this belief, this way that our mind operates, that is also always looking for outside approval of how we're handling ourselves. And it's very important to have a sense of where the calling to commune with ayahuasca really comes from. And whenever we have a connection with nature's beauty, that's where we can really clarify our calling, to see how is that connection to an animal, to a beautiful horizon, a beautiful ocean or sunset or something, how that beauty that touches us is inviting us for what in our lives, and understanding that it's not something social, it's really an inner quest. And the most sincere we are in that quest to come back to nature, to come back to the mother, the more real our experience becomes, and the less we have to suffer with the ego that will like take over our experience and be tripping on our spiritual powers, and now we are this and now we are that. And there is a lot of distortions happening in this world, because of this opening, because of this integration happening between our cultures. But it's very important that we are aware of this very fundamental difference between us and the indigenous people, how they were really using ayahuasca to be initiated into higher levels of responsibility on a spiritual level, to support them into stepping into higher level of responsibilities inside of the community as mothers and fathers of life. So because in our culture we have not been initiated into motherhood, into fatherhood, is just something that happens, or even into love, into intimacy, into family. We have just been like told how to do it, and all happens very much from the outside in. There are a lot of wounds that we have on that journey that ayahuasca and a community of learning like the School of Earth has the potential to help us to like reframe, resignify, take a wider look, and be able to understand what are the initiations that life is calling us to. Because according to ancient teachings, all our sufferings in our life is because of resistance to the natural flow of growth, of the natural development of ourselves within the collective. To find our place is always relational. It's always to understand how can we be of service to the collective. And we have such a individualistic mindset that we many times come to the ayahuasca like wanting to find enlightenment, and we don't really relate the lessons of the medicine with our real lives and with the real key points where we struggle in our lives. And after like 10 years of traveling around the world, trying to understand what this spiritual calling really is about, there is a song that comes to my mind that sings, when you let go of fear, the truth will appear so simple and clear. This journey will end where it started, my friend, in the heart's mystery. This journey will end where it started, my friend, in the heart's mystery. Because the longing for spiritual connection is really the longing for a source that we have not been met with here on the physical plane, because of how culture has led our parents to believe that the only concern they have to have is like to go for a spiritual, like they have created such a lack, such a scarce system, that our parents have to battle so much to provide us the basics, that we just collectively ignore the need of emotional, energetic, soulful nourishment. And this is the basic longing that takes us into all these heartbreaking initiations of the School of Earth. It's all about love, actually. And the foundation of love is really the the connection of life force between different life expressions. Like love, in my understanding, it's really the free flow of life force, the exchange, the integration of one with another as one. And we have been met with so many resistances. So our life force doesn't know its value, because as children we come like just pouring, and then there is all this fear and all this trauma of our parents and grandparents and so on, that we just get also those blockages, and we just forget how abundant we are as sources of love. And that original experience of being connected to source, it's very alive. If we look at children, they're just like feeling everything with totality, and the energy they have to run and explore and be warm and be like cuddly and tender and vulnerable. It's all because life force is moving through them. And as we grow older, like in teenagehood, this energy becomes more erotic, because it starts to really develop the potential to create not only physical other children, but also to create our lives, like to have visions, to have creative projects and creative ways of living and of seeing things. And we were not stimulated into developing that. Our sexual energy, our creative energy was shamed and blocked and repressed and distorted into pornography, into romance. And I believe that it is so important for us when we come to ayahuasca to really come with this more in-depth understanding of what is it that we're really going for, what is the healing that we truly need as humans. And and I believe that we all have different stories, but basically they're just different variations of the story of love, not being able to be received and met by love, and that longing to be met by love that we all carry within, consciously or unconsciously. It directs our lives to addictions, to substitutes, to withdrawal, but it's all like at the core, we're just love, and love wants to be love, wants to connect, wants to expand, wants to multiply itself. So I feel it's really important to have this context, because otherwise we become naive, and we just like, I come here, I sing these carols, and I know how to teach, like I know how to sing this song, and we become this spiritual ego. But deep down, the real pain, the real calling, the real spiritual calling was not addressed. And most schools are not working at this level, because it is very deep. It is very complex in a way, and not everybody has this information, because ayahuasca has been turned into kind of a religion, and the indigenous themselves, like, they don't go through all of these, so they have a different relationship that already starts in a very spiritual level, because they already know themselves as one, as love. And we have a whole path to retrace, to reconnect, to make conscious within us, to be able to meet them at this level. So the intention of my work as a psychologist, as a tantric priestess, is to really give our collective a map of what is the mindset that we should bring into ayahuasca, like really have some time of self-reflection prior to coming, to know what is the calling, to know what we're asking to be defibrillated, which are exactly all the defense mechanisms, all the ego, the rigidity in mind, emotion, and body, so that we can become flowy, so that we can become fluid, watery, pure, transparent, fiery, alive, and restore our holistic health. So I'm going to be sharing more about this map on a second part to this video. And just like before I close this, I just want to say that it's all really about, first of all, having a cognitive reframing of what life is, of what spirituality is, of what sexual energy is. Because we have this mindset, when I speak about Tantra, we already think of like sexual organs. When I'm speaking about sexuality, I'm speaking about the creative energy that animates everything, that is present in everything, that is the core of every atom. You know, it's this electromagnetic dimension of life that turns us on, that lights us up, that makes us alive. It's not local, it's not phallic, it's also not yonic, it's not localized, it's flow. And of course, there are parts in our body where this shame is stored, where the wounds are stored, the wounds of our collective negative framing of sexual energy, the core of where this energy comes from, which is a womb, which is the creative energy that made our parents meet so that we could be here. So all life really comes from it. And for me, it's really curious how we turned everything into a religion where we are consenting to repeating the belief that life is all about love and life and light, love and light. But where does love and light come from? Where do we come from? We all come from sex. We all come from creative energy. And ayahuasca has a really, really profound potential to heal that once we have the inner map, because everything that we have within our minds about reality will be amplified by ayahuasca. So if we have a belief in like shame on sexual energy, we might go into an ayahuasca experience and be seeing like snakes and be really like, oh my God, this is like the demon and I'm fighting. And this whole mentality of Christianity of like being a warrior, fighting the dragon, fighting nature, fighting the serpent. We take that, we leave that, we believe that we are doing the best, but we're still disintegrated within. And I really want to bring up a mindset about the serpentine nature, which is ayahuasca, which is the cosmic DNA of humanity, the potential of creative energy of this planet condensed into a vine that we can receive to really reprogram our minds about what is life, what this world is really made of, so that we can touch the place of blissful relaxation into a reality of love, of true merging of polarity of male, female, yin, yang, negative, positive, water, fire, air, earth, polarity in this dance, so that we can really get the juices flowing in us, you know, and to really reconnect to this creative dimension of earth instead of constantly reproducing an old paradigm, believing that we are getting somewhere different. But depending on our map, we will really be guided to a very different experience. And this is the map that I'm presenting for the ayahuasca experience inside of the School of Earth, so that you can come with a conscious recognition of the power and the interconnection of your ego identity, your defense mechanisms, your core wounds around your core expression, your elemental nature of fire, water, air, earth, having ether at the center of all your expressions, also of all distortions of your expressions, all the distorted mechanisms that we start behaving once we are disconnected from the center, which is love. So that we can have a map to really see what we see and allow it all to collapse back into the center, so that we can energize the center of our consciousness that is love, and let this love restore our soul's blueprint and really restore the balance of our psyches on a very holistic level that is truly beneficial for us individually, and that can create a real lasting contribution for our collective. So thank you. This is an introduction. If you like this information, check out the next video, because I'm going to be going more in depth into the different archetypes that we are looking to integrate, and what the spiritual work with Kundalini, with Ayahuasca is really about. Shala, shala.